I want a baby birthed out of this bride. I want to hold him in my arms.
Hello, Tonasket. I'm Siren. I'm a reporter. I know some of you are familiar with me by now. I'm not going to be able to look up at the microphone this whole time. I want to read from some public records because I know a lot of you are curious about this stuff. It's important to know what's really going on, and these are public records. This is information for anybody. And this obviously concerns some religious neighbors, I would say. We're going to go through the police report. I was going to wait to put this out, but I know a lot of people are curious, so let's just do it now. It's going to be interspersed with some audio files that are also public and legal to publish. This is the document I will be reading from. This happened April 8th, 2 Fridays ago. And I guess I can say there was a guy named Chris involved and a guy named Stewart involved, and there were about 5 officers involved. So the police are looking for Chris. He's got a young child that he's driving around the county with, and he doesn't have permission to be doing that. And the police are looking for him. They got a warrant to basically find out where his phone was pinging from AT&T. So it was a pretty serious fuck up if the cops have a warrant like that. It's not easy to get. So Chris is pulled over on Highway 20 and refusing to exit his vehicle. That was how the scene started. And the kid is there. The child is in the back seat. Is Chris connected to this religious organization? Here we go. Knowing that in the past, large numbers of Chris's religious organization have shown up at law enforcement contacts with Chris and had been problematic, I responded with light sirens, and Deputy Lee responded as well. I responded with lights and sirens, and Deputy Lee responded as well. This is a known thing. This is known. The large numbers of religious organizations showing up at police contacts. That says something. All right, I'm going to explain these clips a little bit. First one, this is a leader of the group. He's kicking out a member, and the next few clips are all going to be concerning this action that was taken years ago. And this was these are public documents.
Ain't going on your terms, Craig. But you lose everything you own. And some of what you own is your family. It's serious. This is your life and your death. It's downright serious. Jared did the same thing. You see where he's at? I literally call for he forfeits his life, and he better not last this month. Here's what you can do. Here's the grace I'm going to give you. I'll give you the grace to walk away.
Mr. Mark, I don't want to walk away.
I'll give you the grace to walk away.
I don't want to walk away.
Did you hear me?
I hear you. I don't want to walk away.
I will give you the grace to walk away, and here's the grace. You'll resurrect in Abraham. As you walk away from here accusing, it's over.
And then this guy, Stewart, shows up on the scene. I observed that Stewart had a knife clipped in a pocket on his right side. I alerted the other deputies of Stewart was told to keep his distance and not interfere in the execution of the writ, which is how the writ of habeas corpus, which is how Chris was arrested. So there's a habeas corpus warrant. That's what's going on. The cops are really serious about this, and there are 2 gentlemen from a religious group who don't want to comply. The reason they don't want to comply is kind of strange. They are both sovereign citizens. They have renounced their United States citizenship, and they think they are above the law. We'll get more into that. Chris is refusing to exit the vehicle. The cops, I had a lengthy conversation with Chris explaining what we were doing and why. Chris, who has been described as a sovereign citizen is in quotes, had a number of different reasons as to why he believed he did not have to comply with the court order to to give up custody of his kids. Chris showed me a number of documents he said were federal court orders that superseded the state orders. I looked at his documents, which were documents he had served on the court and were not orders from the court. So Chris is using his own sort of like lawsuits as like legal documents. He also showed me he had a family court document from an Alaskan court that was dated from 2018. None of these documents were germane to the situation at hand. That's what the police officer says. I ultimately explained in no uncertain terms that we were executing the writ and that he was under arrest. I explained that he needed to get out of the car. I told him if he failed to comply, I would force my way into the car and take him into custody. He was extremely vocal that he did not consent, saying this over and over. I explained that his lack of consent was noted and would be documented, but it did not change what was going to happen. As I was explaining to Chris that he was under arrest and that I would break the window of his car and remove him by force if I had to, Stewart advanced at me, yelling at me. Knowing that Stewart was angry and armed, this was a cause for concern. This is why there's two arrests at the scene. He already had been explained that his actions would result in his arrest for obstruction. So yeah, he's trying to obstruct the scene. He's telling the officers because of where they are that they're trespassing. They can't be where they are. The two police officers moved to take him into custody. Stewart actively resisting being taken into custody. He locked arms, pulled away, braced himself against all attempts to place him in restraints, and at one point actively trapped Deputy Lee's arm in a wrist lock. Stewart was taken to the ground and I controlled his head by pressing down on it. Counter joint techniques were used, but no strikes were made. He was told several times to stop resisting, but he did not. He insisted that he was not actually under arrest and that he had not broken any law and that we were trespassing. That's what he's saying. Like, you can't arrest me here. Like, what do the police have against me? I'm a sovereign citizen. You can't do that. Bad idea with the police. I don't know why anybody would think that was a good idea. This is a very disturbing clip from Mark where he knew he was being recorded. He says something sort of disturbing sexually, and then a even more outrageous statement follows immediately after, which is pertinent, I think, to what's going on.
Yeah, we sure did, man. We horned down like dogs. Had enough now, though. You can have her back. In her white dress. Yeah, if I had anything of Marshall on me then, you know what I'd have done to that kid? And I'd have repented later.
Back to Chris, either exit the vehicle peacefully or be forcibly removed from the vehicle. I explained that the ultimate outcome would be the same either way, but one would result in damage to his vehicle and potential injury for all involved. I reiterated my desire to resolve the situation without force and property damage, but made it clear that this is exactly what was going to happen if he did not exit the vehicle. His lack of consent was duly noted. There's a couple cops. This is where things get like pretty fucking weird, is with the kid, because there's a kid in the car. The cops are trying to rescue this kid from this situation. Okay, Chris's daughter was removed from the back seat, so that's good. Chris angrily asked what we were doing with his property. I was initially confused, thinking he was asking about his binder full of legal documents that he had been asked to take with him. I asked him what he meant because I was clearly holding the binder. So Chris is saying that's my property, and the officer is confused because he's holding Chris's property. He asked the question again while looking at the deputy who was taking the little girl out of the car. I asked him if by property he meant his daughter. I told him that his daughter is a human being and not property, and that she was being taken into protective custody. The entire exchange was quite bizarre, as he already had the writ and our purpose explaining multiple times, so no reasonable person would have questioned what we were doing unless he was wanting to make sure that we all knew that he considered his daughter property, though what purpose that would have served is not clear. When I've read a lot of police reports, like when something bizarre is happening, typically the police don't say this is bizarre, but they do. The entire exchange was quite bizarre. That says something. The daughter is safe. I want to say that the girl is safe. Body camera footage is available. That's another public record. This is a public record. The body camera, public record. And there's I'm just reading from the very first report. There's 5 officers on the scene, so there's a lot of police reports. And there's more police reports about this case. This is just a preview of a story that is going to come out. And this last clip is about blaspheming the Holy Ghost. In this religious group, you're not allowed to question Mark for obvious reasons. He's in charge, and there are consequences to not listening to this guy. That's a tame version of this clip.
Can I ask what that would look like if I were to blaspheme the Holy Ghost?
You'd know. You wouldn't even want God.
Huh.
If you blaspheme the Holy Ghost, you could never recover.
And while this is going on, okay, this is like, these guys think they're above the law. I think that's been established. Stewart then stated, do I need to call Tony, inferring Sheriff Hockley? So he's saying, do I need to call the sheriff? Like this is wrong. Do I need to call the sheriff? He knows the sheriff. In another case involving the leader of this group, after he, I would say, abused a child. He did. That's what's in the court document, the public document in Alaska. He was able to do community service for his own church, which is weird. And they're saying, while this is going on, like they're accusing the officers of being yes men, as in, I don't know, like, yes, we will execute this warrant. Stewart turned to Deputy Hurst and I and stated, you don't want to do that. It's that simple. You don't want to do that. It's that simple. All right, I'm going to stop there. That's page 9 of 28. More of this story is going to come out. Reporters are going to be talking about this. For sure, this story isn't going anywhere, and there will be more. I mean, if I had time, I mean, you might imagine that I've been very, very busy because I've been following this religious group for years. So this is a huge development. I don't have time to release everything that I'd love to get out there right now because I'm just extremely busy talking to people at the moment. And collecting more information and seeing, like, you know, how the press is going to treat this story because it's such an important story. Yeah, stay tuned. There's going to be plenty more.